Today's episode is for anyone who has ever put themselves out there. Whether you're posting a selfie, starting a business, uploading a dance video, making a podcast, or simply existing in public with confidence. There's one thing we all learn when we hit the post button. People will always have something to say, even when our content has literally nothing to do with them. Welcome to She's Probably Talking to Other Guys, the podcast where your assumptions make an out of you and no one else. I'm your host, Annie of the Banannie Diaries. Today's episode is number 18, and it is titled Too Loud, Too Cringe, Too Confident, Too Bad. Today we're discussing how public opinion creates assumptions out of thin air. I will be using some absolutely incredible, amazing women who are constantly in the media, and it just seems like no matter what they do, they can never please everyone. So if you are brand new to creating, if you are thinking about putting yourself out there, but you're nervous, if you are someone who is very experienced and has a lot of videos and a big social media presence, this is for you too, because sometimes we all need a little reminder that no matter what we're sharing or no matter what we're talking about, somebody is always going to have something to say. Last week was episode 17 with Maddie from Homestead's Hot Sauce. We discussed topics such as building her brand from the ground up. She also taught me about some different types of peppers and so much more. Tune in to episode 17 to get to know Maddie and maybe learn about your next favorite hot sauce brand. Just a friendly reminder, I am not a therapist, psychologist, or expert in human behavior of any kind. Everything I share comes from personal experience, opinions, and lots of conversations over coffee with friends. If you're struggling with something deeper, I always encourage talking to a licensed professional. As always, this is a judgment-free, assumption-checking zone. Take what resonates and leave the rest. You can be perfect, you can be messy, you can be polished, relatable, quiet, loud, confident, anxious, kind, funny. There are so many qualities you can put out on the internet, but someone will still find a reason to pick you apart. People will create entire personalities for you out of thin air, make assumptions that are so beyond ridiculous that it might make you want to scream. And that's why I really wanted to film today's episode about this topic. I think that being on social media and becoming a creator, being an established creator, maybe you're just starting, or maybe you literally just posted something really random and it took off out of nowhere. Whatever the case may be, I really wanted to film this episode to let you know that if you're kind of just stuck in feeling like you can't win, you are absolutely not alone. So today we're going to be looking at some of the most high profile women in media, on social media, on television, music artists, just from various types of media that is out in the public. And it's sometimes like they breathe wrong and it's a headline. They blink and the internet is upset. They do nothing and somehow that becomes a problem too. So if they can't win, sometimes it gives the feeling that we can't win either. What you can control is how you show up, your intention, your integrity, your voice, your creativity, your energy, and your why. Your why you wake up and decided that this is what you wanted to do today. This episode's a reminder that you are not responsible for stories that people tell about you, for rumors that people make up about you, for assumptions that you may hear through the grapevine about yourself. You are not responsible for that. You're only responsible for the narrative that you choose to write for yourself, which hopefully is the one that makes you truly feel like you are being yourself 100 million%. Let's talk about it. The too much, the assumptions, unrealistic expectations, random backlash, and why none of it should stop you from showing up. We're starting off with one of my favorite women out there, Miss Sabrina Carpenter. A lot of what I hear people complain about when it comes to Sabrina Carpenter is she's too sexy, she's too horny, she's always singing about sex and this and that. I love that she leans into these cheeky, theatrical women empowerment, women centered performances. I absolutely love her music. I find it incredibly relatable. And honestly, she is one of my favorite artists right now. I'm going to bring up a specific moment where I was literally like, WTF, are you serious? So, when she dressed up as Wonder Woman at one of her recent concerts, I believe it was at Madison Square Garden on Halloween, she had a amazing, a super cute Wonder Woman outfit that I would 100% wear, by the way. And I just think it's absolutely ridiculous that there was online commentary and hate about the fact that Wonder Woman's hair is supposed to be brown. Do you literally have nothing else to do in your life than sit there and be offended by Wonder Woman with blonde hair? When I saw that, I literally was like, seriously, not only can this girl not win, but this is the literal proof that the public has so many opinions that have nothing to do with anything. And the fact that this actually started to become a thing, that people were bothered by a Wonder Woman with blonde hair instead of brown hair, I feel like I don't even need to continue because it is just so ridiculous that that is what came about on the internet about her costume. The original Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, she wrote on X, I see this little argument about Wonder Woman being brunette. Reminder, Wonder Woman is within all of us, and sometimes she has blonde hair like at Sabrina and Lynn. There is Miss Sabrina Carpenter and a perfect example of how the public truly just created something out of nothing. So if you're hesitant to post something, I mean, oh geez, I guess then that means a few weeks ago when I did my brunette, like cowgirl Dolly Parton vibe, is the internet mad at me because I went for a Dolly Parton vibe, but I'm brunette and I'm not blonde? I mean, it's just absolutely insane that this even became a conversation. This is how Sabrina Carpenter, well, one of the ways that she deals with online hate, and she uses sarcasm as a tactic. This is the quote from Sabrina Carpenter in Rolling Stones. Anytime I didn't really want to be nice and please people, I could use sarcasm as a tactic of being transparent, and I didn't come across as rude or bitchy or hard to work with. End quote. First of all, I love being sarcastic. If you're in my circle, you know that I'm sarcastic all the time. Um, I just think it's fun and I like it. This is showing that sarcasm allows her to be assertive without having to necessarily deal with a lot of the stereotypes that are usually put on women. Trust me, I could do an entire episode, but I won't do that, about how much backlash I got in the ballroom dance world when I simply disagreed with someone or when I simply spoke my mind about how I thought that something should be. So trust me when I say that I get a lot of these. I'm going to call it name calling because I really do think that someone saying that someone saying that you're difficult to work with, like that is all just absolutely ridiculous when someone is just speaking their mind. There's a difference between someone being difficult and someone just voicing their opinion or someone just saying what they think. Those are two very, very different things. Anyway, there's our girl, our queen, Sabrina Carpenter. I love her 100%. Love her energy. Laugh. I roll my eyes. Not laughing in a mean way. I'm laughing with her when I see some of these absolutely ridiculous assumptions about Miss Sabrina. Next up, we are moving into our pop icon, Taylor Swift. A lot of times I feel like she gets labeled as she's too emotional. I've seen people say she's too famous, that we see her too much everywhere all the time. And I don't know, when it comes to people saying all of this, I just wonder, like, why does it bother you? Like, what in these people is it that it just annoys them to say something like this? Because it's not her. It's the people who are saying this. And for me, I just like can't figure it out. Like, if you think that she's on your feed too much, maybe you should stop engaging with content about her and then it won't be on your feed anymore. I mean, we are going to talk for a second about how an assumption that people think that everything she does is PR related, which I don't think so. I think honestly, she's just living her life while she happens to be someone who is incredibly famous and popular. And I can't even imagine how insane it is for her to just do like normal things because everybody has something to say. Really briefly, we're just going to bring up the fact that when I think it was more last season, I would say, in the NFL, when so many fans of football just like couldn't handle seeing her on the screen so much. When at the end of the day, it wasn't her choice to be on the screen so much, but people kept taking it out on her. Why would she stop going to the game to support someone, which, by the way, clearly she loves because they're engaged now? Why would she stop going to support someone she loves because something out of her control is happening and people are showing her on the television a lot and she doesn't necessarily even know. I mean, when you're at a game, you don't necessarily know. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe I saw an interview with her where like she didn't know how much they were showing her on the screen. So again, I think that this is something where something out of her control was something that she was getting blamed for, something that she had to deal with online hate for when it had nothing to do with her. For someone who feels like you are dealing with something that's out of your control and receiving negative feedback on it or whatever it might be, take a deep breath and know that you're one, not alone, and two, you just need to keep doing you. As long as it's safe to keep doing so, please keep your safety in mind, especially when it comes to public and people being nasty. So use that block button. One other thing that tends to happen for Taylor Swift is she's always cheering on performers at award shows and she's dancing and literally looking like she's having the time of her life. And again, there's still hate from the media on that. There's hate from the public, from people who have a keyboard about a girl out there living her best life, dancing, just really having a good time and supporting other artists as well. And for some reason, people have a problem with that. And again, I just find it so shocking that, I mean, one, you're at an award show. If you want to sit there and just sit there, okay. But if you want to go and you want to have a good time and you want to dance and you want to cheer and support people, why not? Like, I want to see people having a good time because then that makes me interested and then that makes me wonder, okay, why is this person having such a good time? I want to know, right? Instead of them just showing hundreds of people just sitting there staring. I just think that it's so much more fun. And maybe it's the performer in me. I don't know. But I just think that when someone's vibing and they're just having the best time of their life, just leave them alone. Why is it so wrong for someone to have the best time of their life? I don't get it. And I probably never will get it. And most of the internet probably won't get it either, based on a lot of the hate that she receives for simply just dancing and having fun and supporting other people. So I'm not going to try to quote it because I don't remember what it was, but I feel like it was something related to her as well, where if people are going to make fun of you for being yourself, or if people are going to make fun of you for getting excited about something, like there are so many things that get me really excited. And in the moment, I get really loud. I can't stop smiling. I get very excited. I want to say it was her. When this came out, I was literally like, oh my gosh, she gets it. And it's true. Like, why would you try to dim down someone's excitement for something? I just feel like that's not very nice. If you are someone who tries to dim down the happiness of others, or someone who tries to dim down excitement, or maybe someone's like having the best time of their life, like don't dim that down. Because maybe if you allow yourself to, or whatever you might need to work on, I know sometimes it's easier said than done. I have been around people who were hating on me for being excited about stuff, who were hating on me because I was getting opportunities for different things. And it is not cool to be around people who shut you down, or who are just like so bothered and irritated by you being excited or you being passionate about something. It is not cool to feel like people are just like being a buzzkill. If you're ever someone who thinks about trying to dim someone's light, think again. If maybe you're the person who is getting excited and you feel like you're around those people, I mean, consider what it would take for those people to change. And if you don't think they would change, you have a decision you need to make. Because if you want to be excited and you get bothered by people who try to dim your light, if you're around them all the time, I think that you just need to make a decision on if you're going to continue to allow that energy in your life. The next iconic woman I'm going to be discussing is actually someone that I have followed on social media for a while. I originally became familiar with her through the Sports Illustrated swimsuit magazine and their platform. If you've heard some of my previous conversations about Sports Illustrated swimsuit, I am so blessed to have been connected with them, and I absolutely love everything there is to love about Sports Illustrated swimsuit. Literally, you can see me smiling if you're watching the video for this. Hands down, my life has changed just from connecting with them, and I haven't even made it into the magazine yet. I say yet because, of course, we're manifesting. So, Ella Halikas is one of my favorite women to watch on social media when she posts her videos, when she's featured in different articles. I just love her energy. I love her confidence. And we're going to discuss her because I feel like the internet hates on her, again, completely unprovoked and for no reason. So I've heard some assumptions with her related to her being too confident, too unapologetic, too body positive. And it's just, again, so ridiculous, and just another perfect example of how public opinion just creates nonsense out of thin air. So when you see Ella, she's very vocal on social media. She's very body positive, which I absolutely love. And she's out there being herself. She is out there trying to share her message and live her best life. And people are just hating on her for it. And it is ridiculous. One message that she is constantly pushing is that modeling is not about fitting the mold of one single model, of one body type, of one energy, even, I would say. When you watch her walk, I mean, she is owning the runway, but she has this bubbliness about her personality. You notice her. Like, she is walking and you notice her. She's not someone who's just out there, like, because she's out there. She is someone where, for me anyway, when she takes the stage, you're like, that is a confident woman right there. Like, she is radiating positive energy and confidence. And of course, there are so many people who say that she's too much and just overall, they just try to diminish her light, which is just not cool. And I'm not here for it. But I wanted to bring her up because I feel like she is someone, again, where if you're feeling not confident about putting yourself out there, or if you're feeling like people are going to judge you for making videos or describe you as cringe or whatever it might be, I would actually recommend following Ella because I just love her positivity and her content. And I also just get some really fun ideas from her too for some of her photo shoots and some content that she's posted. So, again, all the love to Ella. And I wanted to bring her up in this because I do feel like she is someone where, especially the more attention she gets, it just seems that like the hate train comes along with it. And that's not cool. So go show Ella some love. Up next, we are going with the iconic Miss Kim Kardashian. She is everywhere. I mean, I enjoy seeing her everywhere. I enjoy learning from her. By the way, if you're busy hating on her, maybe you should stop and consider that you could learn something from her instead of hating on her, because the new valuation of Skims is $5 billion. Again, 5 billion. So maybe instead of hating on her, you should take a notepad out and start to learn some things about how she did it, because I don't know why you would want to spend your time hating on someone who is that good with creating something that is valued at $5 billion. Today, we're going to specifically talk about how she did announce that she failed her bar exam. She was emotional about it, which, again, I like, that is just for me like a basic human emotion. I feel like there are so many moments where we know what disappointment feels like. We know what it feels like to not get something that we really wanted. And yeah, I think quite often tears come out when it's something related to that. And I would find it really hard to believe that there are people who don't know what disappointment feels like. So if you were someone who told me that you don't know what it feels like to be disappointed, I'm not really sure that I would be inclined to believe you right away. I mean, I feel like, especially being a dancer, like you get told no a lot, and then there's always still like that disappointment. And then, I mean, right now I've learned how to redirect that energy into something else, but it's still like that little sting of disappointment before you have to pivot and figure out what you're going to do next. But again, I just think that I don't understand why people would be shocked that she had this reaction to something that really meant so much to her. I think that sometimes people think that when you're at like such a position in your life as Kim Kardashian, whether it's because you think she has money or how gorgeous she is or whatever it may be, it's almost like people don't think she can experience moments of disappointment or moments of sadness because of who she is. And that's just so beyond wrong. I don't even know like where to begin with that. But again, I think that this just comes down to human emotion. If you don't have anything nice to say, just don't say it at all. If you don't like that she's constantly on your screen, then block her. If you don't like that you're constantly seeing her posts, then don't engage with them. I mean, there are ways where if she really bothers you that much, there are ways where you don't have to see her content or interact with it. I mean, someone like her, I would imagine it's hard to avoid her completely in the media, but if she really bothers you that much, like just stop being mean. There's no reason to make mean comments. Remember that you're human too, and when you're disappointed in something, there's no reason to act differently just because you see someone else upset or you see someone crying. I mean, for me, this all comes down to human emotion. And yeah, I mean, that's disappointing. This is something that she really wants and something that she's been putting a lot of hard work into. and maybe it's hard for people to get if they haven't done something like this in their life. Ballroom dancing is a perfect example. You put so much work and so much energy into it, and sometimes it all comes down to politics on the judging panel of why you don't win. And it is so frustrating. But again, it's just like all out of disappointment. And I think that that's a very common feeling that I would imagine most people have experienced. Moving on to Alex Earl. She is also someone who is everywhere on social media. I will be honest though, I didn't follow her until recently. No reason whatsoever. It just happened to be that for the longest time, she never came up on my feed. And I don't know why. I love her Get Readies with me. I think that she's really fun. I also think that it's very human how she shares her stories and her daily life and Get Ready with me's. But for some reason, the world still seems to have a problem with her sharing or with her being honest. And I just can't understand why, because so many people say that social media is fake, but then you have creators who are sharing their lives and sharing details, but now all of a sudden it's too honest and it's too real. Like, you need to make a decision on what you want, honestly. Because, again, perfect example of someone else who just can't win no matter what they post. As a ballroom dancer, I felt that it was wrong to not discuss Dancing with the Stars. I do admit that I have some reviews coming soon, so I won't get too much into it right now. There were assumptions when she joined Dancing with the Stars that she's only there for brand deals, or that, Dancing with the Stars only chose her so that way they could become a bit more relevant on social media, things like that. But from what I see when I watch, it's just a girl who's learning how to dance. You're not just trying something in like the privacy of your own home, or you're not just trying something with maybe a few people watching. You are trying something brand new that is challenging with America and potentially the whole world watching. She's another person where it seems like no matter what she shares, somebody's going to have something to say about it. So if she's sharing something about a breakup, or she's sharing something about a family story, because I do know that she talks about her family a lot. Again, I just think that if you really are not into it, then just keep scrolling. There's no reason to stop. There's no reason to say something mean. Just keep scrolling. I will post some videos with my reviews of Dancing with the Stars because, again, I don't want to go too deep into this episode because then you'll know everything that I have to say on my Dancing with the Stars reviews. So we are going to leave Alex Earl there, but I am very proud of her for her journey on Dancing with the Stars because it is not easy to put yourself out there and try something new in the first place, let alone try ballroom dancing on television for the world to see. Up next is one of my favorite women, King Kylie, the one and only Kylie Jenner. A lot of times when it comes to her, they say that she's too glam, she's too curated, she only does things for PR. I have been a huge fan and follower of Kylie Jenner for a long time. Kylie Cosmetics is literally one of my favorite makeup brands. I am actually wearing it right now. I have a few things going on from the Kendall and Kylie collection, as well as some brow products. The list goes on and on. I love Kylie's skin. Vanilla milk toner. Yes, please, more of that. Foaming face wash. Yes. This is not an ad, by the way. I'm just kind of having a fangirl moment for a second. So it tends to be, again, the case of there's always something people have to say about her. I love her fashion. I love her style. I feel like when I watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which it's not that often, but recently my best friend and I watched a few episodes, and I have to say I am always drawn towards Khloe and Kylie as being my faves. Nothing against the other girls. There's just something so relatable for my personality about those two. So again, I am a big fan of Kylie Jenner. People have a lot to say. People have a lot of assumptions to make. The assumption that we're going to tackle today, because it's not even confirmed and the internet is already spreading rumors and spiraling all of these stories, is the rumor slash assumption that Kylie Jenner and Timothy broke up. I'm also just going to assume that you pronounce it Timothy. I'm not 100% confident. Don't hate on me because of that. I knew who he was before he dated Kylie Jenner, but I wouldn't call myself a fan. So, no, I don't really know the proper way to pronounce his name. This was not like a massive, like, announcement. Like, if I break up with someone, I am not going on social media to, like, blast it that I'm single. Absolutely not. Maybe in high school when, like, it was all about Facebook and your like relationship status, and you were like, oh, now I get to change it. And is everybody going to see it, or am I going to change it privately? I mean, maybe that was when, but I don't really remember. Okay, so assumption one is she's being dramatic, which I don't really get because I don't know how you can be dramatic if you're doing it quietly. So for me, that assumption literally makes no sense. Next assumption, people were just kind of starting to go along the lines with it was a PR relationship anyway, which I don't really think that's the case considering. I mean, again, this is just what I've heard or what I've read about and like throughout their relationship. I don't know 100%, so this is like not factual. They were not talking about each other in interviews. They were not discussing the relationship publicly in interviews. So I don't really get why people think it was a PR relationship when they weren't even using it that way. Also, Kylie Jenner doesn't really need any more media, like, for people to know who she is. People know who she is. And if you have any interest in any of the, how do I want to say it, in any of the topics or the niches that she's in or the businesses that she's run, you know who she is, or you're going to find out who she is. Right? Like, again, so I just think that PR is kind of weird. There's an assumption where people are saying that she must be seeing someone else already. I mean, it's none of your business. That's just, again, another assumption that the public pulls out of thin air. Like, who? I'm a big believer in why would you believe it? If you're going to assume something about me, but you've never heard it come out of my own mouth, or you've never heard me confirm it, why would you even consider for a like moment that it's true? Up next, apparently people are saying she didn't try hard enough to make the relationship last with him. Again, I think it's just a little silly to automatically put the blame on her. You have literally no idea what's going on in someone's relationship. Like, you don't. There are times when I have heard people say, oh, these people are going to get married, this and that, but like, you don't know what's going on inside their relationship because you're not in it. The assumptions have already started. We have a few iconic ladies left. So up next is Madison Beer. She was gorgeous, stunning, fabulous at the Victoria's Secret fashion show. I think she is just literally so gorgeous, and I like her vibe personally. Some people say she's too pretty, too aesthetic, and too curated. Whatever. We're going to use the Victoria's Secret fashion show for a moment. She's out there. She's stunning. She's gorgeous. She, like, truly was such a star out there on the runway, performing, and just how she was dressed and everything. It was so gorgeous. And I feel like it ended up being somewhat of an inspiration to other women. Again, I loved it for real. But people are saying that she was too manufactured, that she was like too perfect and this and that. And for me, that sounds like it's just coming from a place of jealousy. Like, it might not be. I don't know why people say mean things in the first place, but it sounds to me like it's coming from a place of feeling like she's competition or feeling jealous of her and what she has or what she looks like. I just think it's really silly to like say that someone's like too manufactured or too perfect or too pretty. I just think that that's really silly. So, we're going to go through a few assumptions about her. Again, something I don't understand. People feel the need to figure out why or what types of cosmetic procedures someone has had on them. Like, I don't know why. I don't know why it matters. But there are lots of people who feel the need to talk about it. So a lot of people have an assumption that she's lying about what procedures she has had done. Leave her alone. Like, she's stunning, she's gorgeous. If she wants to do something, that is literally her business. If someone in general wants to change something about their appearance, that's on them to change it. That is so their business, and that has nothing to do with what you think about it. If you don't believe in it, okay, but you don't need to push your beliefs on someone else, or you don't need to make someone feel bad or try to make them feel bad because it's not something you agree with. And I just feel like that's what's going on here is like, sure, maybe she's gotten stuff done, but in reality, who cares? Like, why does it matter that you feel like you need to know? This is giving the episode where we talked about having a front row seat to someone's life. Like, you are not entitled to know what she's done. You don't even know her. Like, so no, like, there's no reason any celebrity like owes you an explanation as to what they've had done. Another assumption is that she has no real struggles because of how beautiful she is. Like, come on. She has openly discussed online bullying, receiving online hate. It's another example of no matter what you do, what you say, how you appear, everyone's going to have something to say about it, even though it's really just hate and there's no reason. I am going to go through a few quotes from her, though, for a moment. So, in a previous interview with Teen Vogue, she says, people say I'm too skinny, but if I gain a little weight, they say I look chubby. You can't please everyone. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. I don't give a I don't change myself for other people. And again, for her to come out and actually say that, I mean, that's right there. How much hate she receives just for showing up in public. Like, leave her alone. Leave people alone. Like, I think that one thing that has always bothered me is when someone feels the need to comment on someone's weight or on someone's appearance. For example, in ballroom dancing, I have had students in the past like comment on my appearance, and I don't really appreciate it. Like, it's not necessary. You don't need to tell me these things. Like, if you're thinking that, just keep it to yourself because it's not very nice. I was told at one point that I should never wear a jumpsuit because of how massive my thighs look. Like, seriously? It's just so unnecessary. And the fact that people feel so comfortable commenting on other people's appearance, I don't like that. I think that it's different where if I'm going out with my friend and I'm like, what do you think of this outfit? Like, do you like this outfit? That's a completely different story. I just think that when it comes to commenting on someone's appearance, like, again, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. There's no reason to voice your opinion on something when it's going to be mean. There's no reason to voice your opinion on what someone looks like. And again, I just think that, especially on social media, people are way too comfortable saying mean things. One other quote from Madison, because I feel like I just really like her quotes. I don't know how long ago this quote was from. It's saying she was on a Z100 morning show, and the topic was how she deals with online bullying. People tell her she, quote, signed up for this, unquote, when she began making music. But again, like, no one signs up for harassment. No one signs up for, like, welcoming rude and mean comments. Like, that's silly. So her quote is that, I always say when someone says something negative about me, it's really saying something negative about them, end quote. And I 100% agree with this. I think that a lot of the mean comments stem from something that bothers the person about that person. I don't know if what I said just made any sense. It made sense to me. So, like, if someone's going to say something mean, like, what is it about them that makes you feel that way? Because it's not them, it's you. And I personally feel like when people have been mean to me, like, that is literally my coping mechanism, is telling myself, okay, I literally didn't do anything. That person, this is like on them. That is not a me problem. And unfortunately, like, yeah, in that case, I'm the one who has to deal with that mental game now in my head, telling myself that what they said to me really doesn't matter. But again, at the end of the day, that is on them. That is a them problem. That has nothing to do with you. And yeah, we need to work at not letting that bother us so much. But I don't know. People feel the need to say mean things when they should really just say nothing at all. All right, we have one more amazing woman. The last woman we are going to be discussing for this episode is Alex Cooper, the host of Call Her Daddy podcast. The internet likes to say that she is too soft, too biased, or, quote, not doing her job. As someone who has recently became a podcast host, I would say that I am a podcast host. I think that there is a difference when it comes to being a podcast host versus being a journalist. We're going to dive in for a second to the interview she had with Kim Kardashian, where Alex received backlash for what happened during the interview when it came to Alex asking Kim something along the lines of if she feels like she's ever done anything to get herself canceled, but she wasn't canceled. And Kim replied basically saying, like, no. And then it went into a portion where Alex alluded to something that she didn't want an entire nation after her, which the public assumed she was referring to for Taylor Swift's fan base. Then, because I watched the interview, naturally the algorithm did its thing. It brought related videos about that interview onto my feed. And there was one where I was just a bit irritated by. I don't know if it was because I also have this podcast here or what it was. Like, one, I just don't like when women hate on other women for whatever reason, whether it's so you can get attention because you're creating a video about someone who's trending, like whatever it might be. I just don't think there's a reason to hate on someone for it. And basically this person was saying that, like, she did not do her job as a journalist, which the first thing that popped into my mind was being a podcast host and being a journalist are not the same thing. Like, a journalist can have a podcast, but a podcast host, like, doesn't have to be a journalist or doesn't need to consider themselves a journalist. I don't consider myself a journalist, nor do I want to be a journalist. So this led me to start poking around because I wanted to know, like, if she considered herself a journalist or not, for someone to actually be saying this about her and, like, hating on her because she, quote unquote, like, didn't do her job as a journalist when it came to this interview. Saying in a 2024 interview, I don't know who this is, Andrew Ross Sorkin. I'm sorry, sir, I don't know who you are. He asked if she sees herself as a journalist or an entertainer, and her response was, quote, I consider myself Alex Cooper. I don't care if people consider me a journalist or a podcaster or just a girl that talks online every week. If you want to put me in the box of a journalist who just interviewed the President of the United States, sure, put me there. But I'm fine with podcaster too. End quote. So again, I just think that, like, the hate on her for not digging in to Kim's response, that was her choice. If she just wanted to ask the question and get Kim's answer and move on, fine. But I think the fact that everyone started, like, trying to dive deeper and start these assumptions that, like, she didn't do her job or, like, she's biased or whatever it is, I just think it's silly. Again, like, first of all, what the internet's alluding to, is anybody ever going to get an answer for it? Who knows? But when it comes up, like, again, it's something that you can't control. We talked about in the beginning about things that you can control and things that are out of your control. And something along these lines are out of your control. If she didn't dig deeper, okay. Like commenting and being mean to her on social media is not necessarily going to make her dig deeper in the future. Like it's just you being mean to her and making mean comments and saying mean things. So again, I think what I would say is like my main point, one of my main points with bringing up Alex is I truly like her podcast. I would consider her as something that I look up to. Recently, someone tagged me in an Instagram story where she put together a list of her favorite podcasts, and just the fact that like I was in there and so was Alex Cooper for Call Her Daddy, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much. This is amazing. If we kind of devil's advocate for a second, if she did ask, like there would have been backlash anyway. So, and I'm not saying specifically from who, I'm saying that you don't know what Kim's answer would have been. So, it's really pointless to go through hypotheticals because you don't know if she dug, you don't know what would have come out of it. And again, it's just another example of her not being able to win because she didn't dig and people have something to say about it. But if she did, you would still have something to say about why she did it. It comes down to people feeling they deserve to know certain things and they deserve to know certain events and like what actually went down. But at the end of the day, it's none of your business. If I had a microphone, well, I don't want to drop this microphone. If I had another microphone, I would drop it. But again, at the end of the day, it's just none of your business. Sorry, not sorry. Alex Cooper, I love your podcast. Let's move into some key takeaways from this episode. I mentioned in the beginning that I really just wanted you to know that if you're feeling like you get constant hate or you get backlash, like one, you're not alone. Two, if you know that at the end of the day you are truly just being yourself and just showing up, maybe you're trying something new, maybe you're thinking about doing this, but you're not really sure if you're going to be good at it or you're afraid of what people might say. It's at the end of the day up to you if you ultimately try to do it, but there are so many people that you will find who are in the same boat, they're in the same situation. If you want to do it, go for it. I always feel that when there's something that's on my mind and like it just keeps popping up, whether it's like every day or every week or every month, I know that there's a reason I keep thinking about this or I keep wanting to try it. So eventually I need to try it. I mean, this podcast is a perfect example. There are days where I literally am like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I need to show up and I need to film this anyway because this is a learning process. So my hope is that in a few years, when this podcast has taken off, like, yeah, I'm probably going to go back to my earlier episodes and want to cover my face and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I talked about that, or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, everyone is just learning as they go along. Yeah, maybe there's some people who know what they're doing before they jump in, but a lot of people are just trying. I mean, I could say the same in dancing. Like we're trying stuff, and if it doesn't work, then maybe we'll remove it, but it's all about trial and error sometimes. And I just feel like as long as you're being your genuine self, go for it. If you're dealing with some negativity and some comments that are just really not cool, like you can use the block button. You need to do what makes you feel comfortable. You need to do at the end of the day with what's best for you. As you can see, I know that this episode was highlighting a bunch of women. They were just some people that were on my mind that I am a fan of. I see them going through different things. I see some of these things popping up in the news. And I just wanted to discuss it as a whole because no matter who you are, it seems like many people can't just live their lives without the public having something to say about it, which I have a lot to say about that because I have a very strong feeling that it's not right that people can be as mean as they want to be on social media. It's not right that people can start issues that snowball into like massive problems just because the public didn't agree with it, or again, they created an issue out of thin air. So I have plenty of thoughts and feelings about that. But the main takeaway for me in this episode is that you're not alone. And if you want to try something, I am blessed that I found communities on social media that are so loving and so welcoming. They are out there. Sometimes it just takes a little while to find them, but one of my goals is to be a community like that for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I cannot wait for you to listen along. Follow on Spotify, follow on Instagram. You will find all of the handles on my website. She's probably talking to otherguys.com. If you don't want to type all of that in, it's spttog podcast.com.